What up? Welcome to the official DoD Podcast.
Presents the official Dads of Destiny podcast. The only place where dads can be 100% correct 100% of the time. Don't tell your mother.
What up? Welcome to episode 5 of the official Dads of Destiny podcast. I'm your host, TwoLoudtx. Here with me today, my co-host himself, Nolxero. What up, Nolxero?
Not much. Ducking cover from a lightning storm passing over my house.
Well, that's always fun. That's always fun here in Texas. I know it gets a little bit scary at times. Well, over here on the other side of the world, we got the man that has been adding to his collection of pink shirts for the month of October's Brest Cancer Awareness Month, Mr. POPEBEAR. What's up, Pope?
Not much, man. We got a lot of things going on with the group, and we're trying to bring awareness to breast cancer. And it's actually something that has affected my family very, very closely. And so I'm excited to bring the group involved in it.
Absolutely. We're definitely going to talk a little bit more about that here in just a little while. And also joining us today, the man that continues to dream that glimmer is a real currency that he could use in the real world, Mr. Hambone. What's up, buddy?
Oh, what's going on, everybody? Just hanging out, just taking a short break from Destiny to record this podcast.
Yeah, this is probably the longest break you've had since the last time we recorded the podcast. So at least when you're awake, right? I mean,
exactly.
At least when you're awake.
Sleep is second nature at this point, but it'll be coming to an end here shortly.
Absolutely. Well, and finally, we have a very special guest with us today, guys. As I mentioned, the founder of another large, well-known group on Bungie.net. And actually my first clan leader when I first jumped on Bungie.net and I was grouping up to get my clan ready for Destiny and meet new people, I actually jumped and was joined up with these guys for a little while. Mr. Hollywood, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Good to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you. And Shadow Ravens is your group, and you guys have just blown up as well. You've gone from what I know when I first joined, we were at about 1,000 members or so, and now you're almost at 10,000 members.
Oh yeah, it's been crazy. You know, it's been a great experience watching the clan just explode like it has, and we're really proud of the community that we founded here over at Shadow Ravens. And
as I mentioned, guys, we actually are partnering with Mr. Hollywood here, and we're going on board with the Shadow Ravens and Guardian Radio Network for Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October. And we're also going to be doing the Extra Life fundraiser for Seattle's Children's Hospital, which will be taking place October 6th through the 26th, which will conclude on the 26th with a 24-hour stream to basically, guys, help raise money to play games and heal kids. So that's really what we're going to be focusing on and kind of the couple of things that we're going to be doing and pushing through the month of October. And as Pope mentioned, Breast Cancer Awareness Month is a close thing to his heart. And so I'm going to let him tell you guys a little bit about our idea and what we're doing with the Shadow Ravens and Guardian Radio Network to bring awareness in the month of October.
You know, for me, like I said, my mom struggled with breast cancer, and she beat it. And it's been something that I've spent my whole life watching her battle. And the idea came really from a conversation with me and you, right, Hollywood?
Oh yeah, man. We really did click on that. Just giving back to the community is something that I wanted to do for a while. You guys have done stuff before, and this is a perfect agreement between us that we can really reach out and help millions of women that are struggling daily with this. it's just a real honor to give back to the community in whatever way possible.
And so we started looking at what our options are, and the very first part of this month is about awareness, just bringing awareness.
Right.
And we thought that the best way to do that is by showing a show of commitment. So we're asking all of our clan members in Dads of Destiny, and I know Hollywood, you're going to reach out to your alliance, and we're gonna be asking close to 40,000 members to put on the Aurora Blur armor shader. You can get it in the tower and put it on. Just wear it. We want to get the word out there and make a critical mass, and just let everybody know that they can help in a small way by bringing awareness to it.
Absolutely. So, guys, what we're asking is just go to the tower, grab that pink shader, put it on, and run around with us on the month of October, and just help support and bring awareness. Well, Pope, thanks so much for sharing your story, and Mr. Hollywood, thanks so much for jumping on board with us, guys. Let's go ahead and move on to our bottles up section. Here we go.
Bottles up, Guardians.
Please drink responsibly. Silly kids, drinking is for adults only. Don't drink and ride your Sparrow. Drinking has been known to increase your aim. Individual crucible results may vary. If you have a buzz lasting longer than 4 hours, contact the speaker immediately. No lawyers were harmed in the making of this disclaimer.
All right. So, Pope, feel free to share with us today what manly beverage you have. What is your choice that is just so astounding? You've just been trying to tell us all about it before we even started the podcast.
Well, the truth is that I'm a man of the people. And
oh my
God. The people have spoken.
Here we go.
The people have
What are
spoken.
you, Paul Wall?
Hey, look, all I know is that this segment means a lot to a lot of people, right? Beer is important. And, I got a lot of flack from the European guys that I was picking American beers and that our taste in beers is nasty, right? That they have more refined taste in beer. They've been doing it longer.
They drink beer when they were like 4 years old.
Right. So I took stock. I asked a couple questions from our European guys, and tonight I'm drinking a Schneider Weiss. It's a German Hefeweizen ale. And I know there might be better ones available in Germany right now, but as far as like what's available at a store here, this is you can pick this up at Bevmo, but it's a German Hefeweizen, and I was informed by our listeners that in order to enjoy this beer properly, you need to put it in the proper glass. So I'm drinking out of a balloon wine glass.
So you
right
take
now.
a manly beer and you put it in a sissy wine glass. Please explain that to me.
Mm-hmm. Hey, it's about European refinement. If you can't understand, it probably means you're from Texas.
Oh, here we go with it.
No, he didn't.
Here we go with it. Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, I mean, here in Texas, we don't know how to put our pinky in the air or to drink out of little shallow wine glasses. Typically, we drink out of kegs. So, but speaking of that, Nolxero, what are you drinking down there in Austin, Texas?
I am drinking another green apple Gatorade. It's really good.
Bam, that's manly right there, Pope. Pope, that's manly. All right, and Hambone, what about you in California, just next to Pope, almost where you can reach over and slap him in the face for me? What are you drinking?
Oh, I will gladly do that. But tonight I'm sipping on some Sailor Jerry's Caribbean Spice rum with a little bit of Coca-Cola. It's 94 proof and lays them out right.
Dude, do you drink anything that does not include Coca-Cola, bro?
Hey, I'm just saying, when you know how to mix your drinks, when you're drinking some Jack or you got some rum, you need the Coca-Cola. Pepsi don't do it. It's got to be the Coke. Got to be the Coke.
Man, well, you and Nolxero are going to butt heads because he's a PepsiCo brewery kind of guy.
Oh, I'm a Pepsi guy
right.
too in my daily life, but there's just something about mixing a drink with Pepsi that just doesn't make it taste right. It's too sweet, I think.
Well, it's probably that Pepsi can't run a penny or eat the acid off of a sidewalk. So maybe that's what it is. I'm not sure.
Put some hair on your chest, boy.
Right. Well, I'm going the sissy route today, which according to Pope I always do. But I'm actually enjoying a good old soft drink I used to drink a lot when I was a kid, and that is an IBC cream soda. So some good old fashioned cream soda here in the later hours because believe it or not, I got to get up and go to work in the morning. So
Work.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I got to do that every once in a while. I know. You and Nolxero, you got a hard time figuring out, did I work or did I just play more Destiny? The two kind of go hand in hand for you guys.
I thought they were the same thing.
Right.
I really did.
Well, Mr. Hollywood, tell us a little bit about Shadow Ravens here and how you guys came about, and perhaps a little bit about yourself and your gaming history.
Shadow Ravens initially started off just because, I didn't have many friends, that played Destiny on PSN, and I figured, I might as well start up a clan. What could go wrong? And before you know it, we had 100 people, and before I could put out a big announcement, we had 100 people, it was at 200, and then 300, and then 400, and 1,000, and then 2,000, and then 5,000, and then at one point, it just got so ridiculous that I figured, we have to switch focus. We have to now cater to a ridiculous amount of members. And the way we and my leadership team approached that is simply by catering to everyone, We became the strongest PS4 clan in the world, and that comes with a certain responsibility, not only to the community through the, breast cancer awareness activities, but also to our individual members through, putting together raids, PvP, Crucible teams, and all that jazz. Organizing that has been a challenge in and of itself, but I feel we're doing an adequate job, keeping up with the pace of being a super clan. I myself have led several clans in the past, so, it's nothing too crazy, Warframe, all this other stuff. So nothing really new, but definitely at a different scale. This has been a very interesting experience for me.
So were you part of Bungie.net back in the Halo days as well? Did you play Halo?
I did play Halo. I, however, have joined Bungie.net probably 3 months ago, a day before I created Shadow Ravens.
Wow, okay.
Wow, that's crazy.
That is.
And that's a testament to how this community operates, right? That and how welcoming and accepting it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think you guys are in like the top 10 now of largest on Bungie.net. So definitely congratulations to you guys on that. And
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that that Pope he was, and if everybody doesn't know, he is one of the co-founders per se of Dads of Destiny, and him and Kingpin and Stop Shooting Me, they also weren't expecting to have a clan of 10,000, 11,000, or 13, whatever it is now. I know that wasn't a plan at all, but that kind of just happened and took off. And so, whenever it seems like you strike a chord in the community of a place that people can feel like they're a part of and feel and really find some relationships and other people to play with in that, man, it just seems to take off real fast. So we definitely appreciate you guys over there at Shadow Ravens creating a good solid community and a fun community as well that participates with all of us. And I go ahead and apologize for any time that Pope screams at you guys once they fix the chat ability to be able to hear the other team, because he's pretty competitive.
Too loud. Here's the thing. I'm really excited about Bungie. Eventually. We haven't heard yet, but I'm hoping that they add custom games in there, because I foresee in the future us taking the Shadow Ravens out to the woodshed and showing them around some competitive PvP tournaments. So.
Okay, we'll see about that.
Yeah, I'm available for your Shadow Raven training whenever you'd like. I'll send you a free coupon.
Well, not actually. Speak of what Bungie's coming out with. Not too much of stuff this week. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of updates. I know last week we had the Queen's Wrath came out, and the dev notes came out, and 2 different patches came out, and Hambone was all sad because his Glimmer runs ended, and all that kind of stuff happened last week, and this week it was kind of silent. So, basically, a couple things happened this week. They had the companion app update. which definitely needed an update. If you guys use the companion app at all, it definitely had some major problems, especially like a PM. You couldn't see all of your words on the PM and everything else, and it was really hard to get to some stuff. I know I use the OS version on my iPhone, and I was having some problems with that, but it looks like they updated that. What about you guys? You guys use that app at all?
I use the app. It's pretty good overall. I did need an update. It was kind of slow and kind of same thing you said with the messages. Overall, I really like the app.
You have the Android version, right?
Yeah, I use Android.
And did you get so you got an update? Everybody got an update, I'm guessing, huh?
Yeah, everybody got an update. Like now, my character shows up under the legend part, like without even having to click it. It'll show up right there, and it didn't do that before, which is kind of cool. Yeah, I mean, overall, it's a decent app. I don't use it as much as I did before the game came out. I guess that's because I was so excited. Now I just I can just go play.
Well, Pope actually sits it on his nightstand, and when he goes to bed at night, he looks at my character, and he's just in envy. He's like, oh, he has all the armor from the raid. Oh, I just want it. And he says his nightly prayer, dear God, let me find the armor tomorrow. But he continues not to be able to. But it's all right, Pope. It's all right. At least it's updated enough so you can actually turn my character in 360 and see the armor in all directions. But what about the Grimoire cards? Do you ever read any of the Grimoire cards?
I've been reading the Grimoire cards lately, just because I'm so interested in the story this game doesn't have yet.
Well,
it seems to be the only place you can really get it.
Okay, so let me stop here for a second, real quick. And I mentioned this to Nolxero a few weeks ago. I said, okay, if you guys played ODST at all, you'll understand what I'm saying, or even if you played BioShock. But you know where they had the recordings in the game, right? When you pick up a recording, it would read you the story, right?
And they had it in Halo 3 too.
So how awesome would it have been if instead of a Grimoire card being something I have to go read, where I can't even read it in the game, first off, right? I have to go to my phone or to the internet and read it. How awesome would it be if that was a recording that just played, right? And you had a log somewhere. Say they kept you a log, at some other location or some guy or something in the city, where even the place where you go and pick up your items that you already had. Like if you had an emblem when you first signed on. Does anybody know what that person's called? Not the postmaster, but the other one on the other side.
I think. Actually, I don't know. Never mind.
It's a special orders.
Is it special orders?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
that's what it is.
If special orders had a place where you just go and you go through your Grimoire cards and you could listen to the audio playing again, or if it just played it whenever you're playing through the mission, or when you received one, wouldn't that be? Wouldn't people get a lot more story that way? Isn't that a pretty simple way to expand the story on?
Oh, absolutely. It's much more inclusive, and like you said, you don't have to take time outside of the game to learn about the game. So I think that would be a fantastic idea.
Well, Hambone, with all your non-sleep, how many cards have you actually read?
I'd say somewhere around 30, maybe 30 cards.
What?
I mean, that's... Yeah.
You read 30 cards. What about you, Mr. Hollywood? How many have you read?
I have failed to read a single Grimoire card.
Yes, that is what I'm talking about, dude. That is exactly what I'm talking about, because I literally tried to sit down and read one the other day, and I was like, yeah, never mind. Let me go look at something else. I mean,
it's that dedication, man.
Well, you wouldn't
see. I'd like to know the numbers on that. I really think that if Bungie could look at the numbers of how many people are playing the game versus how many people are looking and reading any of the Grimoire cards, I think it'd be probably about zero. I mean, most people don't want to get off their game to go read the cards. And so, I mean, the only other time you could do it is if you took the app and did it during your loading screens. I don't know. It's a poor system, I think.
Well, Pope, you changed search so much. Do you have time to even look at a Grimoire card?
It's hard to read the Grimoire card, but I find that actually, reading it nude is probably the best way of going about it.
You should just get them printed on your shirts, dude. I bet if they would print them on a shirt, you would read every single one.
If I had some of these Grimoire cards on a shirt, the thing is, I have a 15, I think it's 1800 Grimoire score. 1855 Grimoire score. That's a lot of T-shirts.
That is that.
And
that's true.
I think I'd be a very happy man. But one of the things that I was a little disappointed in between the beta and the final release of the game is that the cards were supposed are supposed to be like a multiplier trading system. So you would get a card, and there would be incentive to get all of them, because if you look on the back of the card, there's like a stats button. And when you clicked on that stat, it would show, like, for example, an enemy, like the Fallen. If you collected a Fallen card, right, it would show a multiplier that you would get based on Grimoire or Glimmer that you would get, or XP that you would get every kill that you got after you accepted that card, right? And then the more cards you got in that deck, it was really cool. Dado put it out, a video that he recorded it just before the beta ended. And it was a really neat idea that your goal, just like baseball cards, your goal was to collect the whole set, because if you collected 5 out of 5, for the enemies, you would get the highest multiplier for Glimmer score for enemies kills, right? And so there was a true in-game component where you would go and you would get some legend or some lore behind it, but then there would also be a practical application. And I've noticed on the update that the practical application seems to be that the stats now are just simply how many of those items you've killed and what rank you are in before you get to that next
Because now
level.
they don't do nothing, right? I mean, unless I'm missing something, they don't do anything except for give you a piece of lore. Is that correct? I mean, Mr. 30 card reader over there, Mr. Hambone?
As far as I know, there is no benefit to having or not having these Grimoire cards. So basically, yeah, it's just some lore and something to read while you're not on Destiny.
Well,
I'm sorry to tell you that I have to hold on, Pope. I'm sorry, I got to make him look bad. Is that if you look at like assault rifle, pulse rifle, based off how many kills you have, you can actually level up the particular type of gun faster, and it has 3 tiers. So more kills you have with a pulse rifle, you can get to like 3rd tier and level it up whatever the multiplier is faster. There. Yeah, it's on there, and so but it's all based off numbers. So like enemies,
there it is.
If you
there it is, right
kill
there.
so many enemies of a certain type, like
so they kept
Shanks, for instance. You'll get a multiplier, but only when using an actual consumable Glimmer package, whether it be Ether Seed or whatever.
So scout rifles, I'm rank 3, it looks like, or whatever. So it says all characters will earn weapon XP faster for weapons of this type. So I'm leveling it up. I'm ranked 2.
Sorry, Hambone.
Yeah, so that means is you need to read 31 cards. Okay, you need to go.
Right.
You need to go read another
one
card.
More card in there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm asking. I was going to ask Hollywood if he's gotten. He hasn't read them yet, but if he's gotten the hard light card yet. Have you gotten that one, Hollywood?
What card?
Oh man, here he goes.
The hard light auto rifle card.
Yeah, he's trying to rub an item in your face, but that's what he has to do. When he doesn't get the best stuff, he tries to rub the second best in people's faces.
Did you know, Hollywood? Did you know that it's an ionized polymer cinnaballistic?
That's a great job there, Pope. And I'm going to make sure everyone gets to hear you try to say that.
I ruined it. It's not even a word. What is cinnaballistic?
Anyways, so yeah, I mean, obviously, I think as a whole, the community really probably hasn't adapted Grimoire cards like they were hoping, and hasn't really paid as much attention to them. I mean, I would love those pieces of the story and the lore, but I don't want to sit there and read a card. And I know the other day I was listening to Guardian Radio Network, and they read a card from this, and it was, man, I want to say it was the Traveler's card. Is that right, Nolxero? Was it the Traveler's card they read on there? Anyways, it was so long. Card. The card was so long. They were like, "What size text was that on that card? Like size 2?" And it's true. I mean, I don't want to sit there and read these paragraphs of all this stuff when I bought a video game to play a video game, not to read.
No,
well, you'd rather experience the story.
I mean,
well, think about this. If you read the Vault of Glass description, and I'm not going to do it right now, but if you read the Vault of Glass Grimoire card, that's a fascinating story that should have been in some way given to you by a cutscene or something that, before you enter it.
Okay, you want to experience the story. Like, here's where I am with Grimoire cards. There's some of them that I read that I'm like, I want to experience that story. Why can't I experience that, like you said, with the Vault of Glass? Now, I'm looking at Atheons right now, and I'm not going to read it to y'all, but that's one of the raid bosses, and for me, I'm like, okay, I beat him, and now I can go in and I can actually get some history on him, and that's acceptable to me. That they don't just divulge that just for the battle, but to not have to say, oh, all our stories on the Grimoire cards, that's where I have a problem. It's like, take the interesting pieces that could be cutscenes, that could be Dinklage talking to us, and give us that, and then keep the enemy stuff like Atheons. I'm reading it right now. It's awesome. It's really cool lore, and it gives just more backstory to the whole universe. But we need it in the game as well. We need lore in the game as well.
You know, and Deej said it last week in the dev notes. You know, it seems like, you know, they were focused on building the system so much that they forgot, or they didn't have time, or whatever the case may be, to recognize and focus on the things that the players would want, right? Which is like run up and grab loot at the end after you beat a boss, and in the celebration of beating the raid and everything else. So, you know, like we've said 1,000 times, this game will look different in a year. It'll look way different in 5 years, and by the end of its life, in 10 years or whatever, it will look completely different. So it will continue to evolve, I'm sure. But with that said, this week we got the patch that everybody was waiting for, that we were told about last Friday. And it ended up coming out, I believe on Wednesday it was made active, but the 1.0.2 patch this week, which refers mainly, the biggest thing was to the Cyptarch, right, into the Ingrams. I don't know about you guys, but I got a couple Ingrams. Luckily, they all turned legendary. I haven't got an upgrade yet, like from a legendary to an exotic. Have you guys encountered any of that yet?
Yeah, I did a little bit of the Tiger Strike playlist, and actually got a couple strange coins, a couple motes of light, and a legendary armor piece for my class. So that was a pleasant change, and actually made that hour and a half or whatever it was feel like it was time well spent, because the rewards were on par with what I thought they should have been from the beginning. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, what was it? Strikes have been updated. The heroic dailies and weeklies have been updated to give you legendaries, right? At least legendaries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some legendaries, but I did see some blues too. But the blues stayed blue, and they weren't greens, and the purples were actually purples. So it was a pleasant surprise.
Huh. Well, let's move on to the fun section here, in the debatable section for the night. Don't talk back.
I wanted to be your dad. What does that even mean? Don't you talk back to me, young man.
All right, so guys, with all the changes coming, the dev notes we got last week and everything else, my debatable topic this week is, should the exotic auto rifles, not the legendaries, not the rares, nothing else, but the exotic, should the exotic auto rifles be nerfed along with all the other auto rifles? I'm going to throw this out to Nolxero and ask him first, and see what he has to say.
As far as I'm concerned, the only one I've had the pleasure of playing with is the Soros regime. And when I think about the nerfs coming to auto rifles, I think I think auto rifles overall do need a nerf. But to me, when we talked about this, I think it's really hard to do the Soros regime, because Soros regime is more like a scout rifle with an automatic attack functionality on it, as opposed to an auto rifle, because once you upgrade it, it has a slower fire rate when you aim down sights. So accuracy and all that is really not a problem, no matter what the dissipation on bullets are, over any kind of gap. It's really hard for me to say about like the Hard Light or Monte Carlo, because I'm just not sure what they're capable of.
Didn't you get a new legendary one last night? A new legendary auto rifle?
I did get the Atheon's Revenge or something like that, but that one I haven't even tried it in PvP yet, so I'm not sure how I feel about that one. But Dado did put out a video that showed off I forget what it's called, but it's an auto rifle for beating the raid on hard, and I think it's like Atheon's gun essentially. Yeah. And
it's actually ironically a fusion rifle, but
you're right.
A fusion rifle that fires auto rounds.
Right, and he was saying that one needs to be addressed as well, because as people start getting that, I mean, I was watching his video that he put up, and I mean, he was just dropping kids so fast with that gun. I don't know. I think exotics need to be looked at.
Well, I know that Pope has a scout rifle that can be fired in full auto. So, my question is, I'm if they start nerfing auto rifles, it sounds like this is going to be a chain reaction, right? It's going to be like, oh, we nerf that. Oh, crud! Now we should nerf this.
Well, there's a simple solution, and I think that they talked about this in one of their development notes, and they said it was coming in the weeks ahead, right? At close range, an auto rifle should win a gunfight with a scout rifle.
Yeah, that's every time.
That should be, all things being equal, 2 players at close range, one with a scout rifle, one with an auto rifle. The scout rifle should lose that gun battle. Okay, so when you're at 20 yards, 30 yards, the scout rifle should be winning that engagement. The auto rifle the rounds should be less accurate. They should spread out.
But the problem is that all these auto rifles, they have so much stability on them, the high-end ones,
right?
That
so
the accuracy is ridiculous. So, I mean...
But not even the high ones. The Sinjin C and the Sinjin E are off the chart.
But they can have a buff on them. Like, for instance, the Silverhead that I have has a stability increase on it, but every other silver that I've seen out there is not that good. And I've used that one for so long because every Sinjin E I found and everything else I found, it was better than it because the stability was so high, the reload was so high, and the fire rate was so high, right? Those are 3 things you look at. I guess for me, I haven't had that big of problem when I decided to use my multi-tool, for instance, in PvP. As long as, like you said, I'm not 10 yards from somebody or 5 yards, I don't have a problem killing them with that over the scout rifle.
Right.
And my argument is simply that you got to understand, though, this is coming from a guy who loves his auto rifle. I love my Suros regime. I will melt people all day with that thing. However, legitimately, I should be losing a gunfight to a scout rifle or a pulse rifle at range, and I'm not right now. And that means that PvP is dominated by auto rifles. If they want their game to exhibit different functionality for different games, for different game modes, and players to be specializing in, sniper, close quarters combat, these different play styles for the maps, at least in PvP, they need to do something about the auto rifle because right now it is the only gun in the game, except for if you're sliding around with a shotgun.
Yeah. 98% of the time it's auto rifles. You see occasionally a guy with a hand cannon, and Troy, I know you're saying about scout rifles having no problem, but the only other difference is you're kind of looking at it from how you normally get on and there's 6 people, or we have 3 people and we go play skirmish. So for me, like I'm in, like I said, I've been leveling up my Titan since level 1. Well, not level 1, level 3, I guess, in PvP only. And I'm using the rifle that I found when the game started. Like, I literally just picked up the gun, and after I did the first 2 missions, I didn't find anything else. I was like, I'm just going to use this gun. And it seems to be working just fine. That and a shotgun, I just run around. And, so I don't see any... There should be benefits. There should be clear benefits of why to use this gun over that gun.
And for me, I think a lot of the map design or map size plays into that, because if you look at a game like Battlefield where you have these massive multiplayer maps, you're not going to take an assault rifle and try to shoot across the board because the boards are too big. So you know that you have to pull out a scout rifle or whatever else.
And all their guns... All the rifles suck. Well, all the guns suck. Well, that game sucks. But anyways, I mean, yeah, no, I know what you mean. I know. I'm just giving you a hard time. But no, I know what you mean. I mean, you're right. I mean, the maps play into it.
So, yeah, for me, most of the engagements I get into, or even if I'm across the map, quote unquote, are medium range engagements that seem like a comfortable range for an auto rifle to take somebody down. But where I do notice the discrepancy is on like First Light on a map like that, where it's pretty massive compared to some of the other boards. That's a board where I pull out my scout rifle readily, but other than that, they all seem built to be auto rifle boards.
Well, I know one problem I had a lot of, right? And I've played with my scout rifle a little bit in PvP, but mainly I'm like everybody else. I'm playing with my auto rifle. But I know a problem that I really encountered in the beta was someone runs through a doorway and I'm shooting down a hallway or whatever, down a direction, and someone runs in front of me while I'm shooting my scout rifle, and they're within 5 to 10 yards. It's like it couldn't hit them, right? It's like it had a problem shooting somebody that close. I haven't encountered that much in now in the full release. I don't know if it was just something they fixed or whatever, but I mean, even then we knew, right? Everybody knew in the beta, Sinjin E was the gun to have in the beta. Everybody got it. And so it's kind of surprising to me that this wasn't addressed beforehand. Obviously, they probably had a lot of other stuff to do, but I'm just worried that if they tinker with it too much, something else is going to become overpowered, and them finding to get that balance is going to be really, really, really tough now.
Right. Well, it's going to happen because it's just like anything else. You look at like League of Legends, a new champion comes out, and then all of a sudden they're going to start tweaking things because this champion breaks some of the components that used to make the game. And it's the same with this. The auto rifle needs to be nerfed, so we can't, or it has to be adjusted. I don't want to say necessarily nerfed because it'll still be good in some capacity.
I just think the stability, dude, for me, if I was sitting on the side of this as a developer, now I don't know how it works, right, as the coding works, but from a PvP guy and looking at it, all they have to do is lower the stability on all auto rifles where it can't exceed, say, 70%, right, or 60% stability on no matter what auto rifle it is, and then you don't have a problem with an auto rifle taking out anything at far range because then it's not accurate, and it's only accurate in that 10 to 15 yard or 20 yard range. And outside of that, it's incorrect. I mean,
I think you need to fall into a pit and burn in hell because for the things that you're saying right now, it's blasphemy, my friend. Blasphemy.
Well, you just admitted
you don't mess with my auto rifle.
But you just admitted they need to be nerfed, and they're going to be nerfed.
No, there's a difference between nerfing something, right, and adjusting its effective range. Just adjust its effective range. That's all that needs to happen.
Right, I agree.
It should do less damage. It should just do less, like you're saying. Do less damage at the further the bullet goes, and the scout rifle should hold damage longer, and same with pulse. I don't know. Stability might need to be nerfed a little bit too. I'm sorry, Pope, because stability. If I'm trying to shoot someone all the way from A back behind B where they like to snipe on first light, you like to see it where I can't hold my gun on someone's head from that distance with an auto rifle. I mean, I shouldn't be able to go full auto and blast somebody in the head over and over while he's trying to snipe me because then he can't because I'm knocking his aim off with this auto rifle.
But what I will say is I don't want them to nerf the exotic auto rifle to the point where they nerf all the other auto rifles. There should be something different, something special. And since we're on the topic of the Suros regime, that has in its build a section meant for additional stability and range. So for that gun particularly, that's why it's special. That's the thing that makes it special.
So let me ask you this though. If these guns like this auto rifle is special, right? Everybody has it right now. Especially everybody that plays PvP has it. Should they be selling that gun like they did last week? I mean, should an exotic weapon be something you can buy? Now, I understand armor a little bit because say you just need the armor to get through, or it has a special piece on it. But should they be selling exotic weapons? Because I feel like weapons are like the prize in this game, right? It's like, man, look at what I got. And nothing is more aggravating than you being like, man, look what I got. You're like, oh, yeah, I had that.
Yeah, I don't think they should sell any exotics.
I agree.
I mean, that's just my personal opinion because how many times have any of us in our group gone, hey, I got this gun, and then an hour later somebody else gets it and it's like, oh, I got this. It's like, oh yeah, that's cool. I mean, it loses its, hey, really, man, what's that like? Let me look at it. Right. So that's what she said. But I mean, it always happens that way. I mean, you and Nolxero have almost every single item the exact same. And so, it's not like, hey, let me see that. What does it look like? What are you doing? You know what I mean? So, I don't know.
Right.
I'm a little worried that they've overstepped their boundary with how many exotics they've handed out because there's not enough variety.
Right. I'd rather them step up engrams instead.
I'm really interested to hear the Shadow Ravens focus on PvP a lot. So, what's the consensus in your world?
A lot of people are saying that, a lot of people got the Soros regime, and were like, oh, hell yes. And then Xur sells it the next day, and it just kind of takes that,
Absolutely.
Achievement away from them. And the other thing is, if Destiny had, 100 exotics, Xur sells, 4 a week? Perfectly fine. But with the limited selection, I think Xur's going to cycle through all of them in, 2 months or something. I don't know. I feel like I can see both, arguments there. Honestly, they both make sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing for me. I found the rocket launcher back when. I mean, it was one of the first things I found was my Galahorn rocket launcher, and then the next week Zerg's selling it. So it was like that sense of accomplishment was like, ugh. Because that's
Right.
what's so cool, and that's why I've been joking all night about the armor that I've gotten from the raid is because it's still rare, right? I mean, to get the 3 pieces is hard to do, and it's fun, and that's why we keep doing those things is to try to get those certain rare pieces, and if they keep giving us all these guns and they keep making it, and I'm not saying that I want them to cut down the availability of exotics as far as how often you get one, but I want there to be a lot more variety. Like, why does every exotic have to have the same bonuses on them? That doesn't make sense to me.
Right, but the one thing I will say about Xur and his selling of the exotics is that it's not like a thing that you can get every week. If you're playing one character, you can get at max 9 coins a week. And to get a gun, it's 23. You'll need 23 strange coins.
You can get more than 9 coins in a week.
You can get 9 guaranteed coins, and then you can get lucky and get other coins. But what other way can you get them?
People are exploiting that already. They have multiple characters.
Well,
and
hold. Before you go into that, and that's going to be tips and tricks, so I don't want to jump into that yet. But
okay.
that is exactly what it is. Is there are ways, which we're going to tell you guys in just a second, but there are ways to do this, and there are ways to get more coins. But what Brian's saying is, look, if you're playing the game regular, if you're playing it how Bungie basically is intending you to play it, you have 9 guaranteed coins. You might be able to play some other things, and say you gather 15 coins a week. You can't really buy anything from Zerg every week, right? I mean, last week I didn't buy the Soros regime. I was 2 coins short, and I couldn't get 2 coins. Now, of course, as soon as he goes away, I get like 10. But I mean, that's the case. But I didn't buy anything from him last week, even though I could buy the chess piece from him, because I didn't need it. And I was weighing my options. I decided not to buy it. So I guess the only other way they could really do it, right, is if they cut down from him, is to cut the number of strange coins you can get. Just like they cut out, the Queen's Wrath, turning those into Ascended Shards or things.
Right.
Is to cut those out. So
So maybe make it 18 coins as the max. So even if you were playing all 3 characters, you could still only accumulate 18, and it would still take 23.
Or do it like this. Do it like, you can only get how many? It's 100. You can only get 100 Crucible marks a week. Well, now they're only going to allow you to get 10 coins a week. That's it. You don't get any more.
Yeah, but I don't.
So that way you weigh, every time he comes in, you weigh, do I save my coins or do I not save my coins? Because next week I can get a bigger item, or this week I can buy one of the small items.
Yeah, but my thing is I think more people are, find that frustrating that they can't get more marks, or, just another limitation of like, oh, I can't do this. Like, give us all the coins we want, but make Xur less frequent. Make them once a month. Make them twice a month.
Yeah.
Or stop selling exotics, or sell one exotic piece a month, period, or a week, period.
That's interesting.
That way, because what it is there's so many exotics. It's so easy for everybody to get an exotic for their character that exotics aren't even that big of a deal. Like, at least in other games where you farm for rare items, if you got something really cool, the only other way someone's going to find that item is go out and hopefully find it. Like, say Diablo or World of Warcraft, any of that. Like, you had to get that roll. And so I understand they're trying to cut down the RNG in this game so that people don't get frustrated with it. But at the same time, they're not. It makes it so no matter how much you play, you can still stay up with anybody that puts in twice as much time, three times as much.
And I wonder if they only gave away one exotic a week. Like, if he came every weekend, right, and he sold one exotic a week, and say, oh, next week it's a warlock, would that make you jump on and play your warlock that weekend?
Maybe. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on what it was,
know what I mean?
It might actually inspire people to roll a warlock. They might be like, holy crap, look at that chess piece. It does this and this, and that is awesome. I'm going to roll a warlock.
Yep.
Great. That it can be incentive.
Exactly.
So I think, obviously the things are, like I said, I thought there's not enough variety, but maybe it's not that there's not enough variety. Maybe it's because they're just making too many available too fast and too many at one time. So I don't know. I'm sure like everything else, they'll take a look at it. So we'll see where they come up with. But real quick, let's jump into tips and tricks with Mr. POPEBEAR.
Oh, you didn't know? Better call somebody.
It's actually playing with some Shadow Ravens guys when when one of them told me about it. And Hollywood, you can help me out here. But I guess you can level up a couple other characters and do the weekly missions where you get strange coins and throw them in the vault and add them up into one character, your main character, and that gives you an opportunity to get at least 3 times the strange coins that you normally would. So, that's an exploit, I think, that right now, because I don't think the Zor is intended to be so easily purchased. But, for those of you out there that are hesitant to start a new character, you can, rank that guy up and make some strange coins for your main guy.
A quick thing to add to yours, I've seen this practiced. There's 2 ways that people are doing it. They either level up, whatever characters they want for the other ones. But the other way I've seen it done is someone levels up 2 new, say you're a hunter. So you have your main hunters 28, 29, and you take the other 2 hunters and you make them level 20, then what they do is they bank their gear and they throw it on the other 20 so that they're 28, 29, and they can do it 3 times as a 29 hunter.
Wise you are, my friend. Very wise. Well, there's definitely, obviously, there's ways around the system still. I don't know if that's something Bungie's intending, but hey, guys, take advantage of it. If you have the time to start another character, you need more strange coins, Zerg's coming to town the next weekend, and you're like, hey, man, I got to get ready. Definitely jump in there and grab some more strange coins, put them in your bank, carry them over to your vault, and bada bing, bada boom, you got more. So hopefully that helps out some of you guys. I know that one more other trick that Nolxero shared with us this week was how he got Ascendant Shards. So, Nolxero, you want to share that real quick?
Oh, yeah. I'll. So basically, I know everybody knows that there's a cap. You can only gain 100 Crucible or Vanguard marks a week. Well, I found a new cap, and that is you can only carry 200 of those marks. So once you hit 200, say 2 weeks straight, you get the cap, and you don't spend any of them. By week 3, you're not going to gain any more marks while you're playing in the Vanguard playlist or doing your weeklies, dailies, or Crucible. So what I was doing was I went into the vendors and bought the 65, mark boots is what I bought. I think there's a couple other ones that cost 65 marks. And break them down, I was getting 2 or 3 Ascendant Shards per legendary. So I'm at 60.
So there you go, guys. If you were so disappointed about the Queen's Wrath items not being able to be broken down to Ascendant Shards anymore, now you have an option. Go use your Crucible marks, because if you're like me, I haven't bought any materials from the Crucible. I haven't bought anything from the Vanguard as far as armor goes. So go use those points, buy some items, break them down, and bada bing, bada boom, you can upgrade your gear. So there you go. Well, now let's take a moment and go to the favorite section that everybody loves and that you guys look forward to every week. And I know I look forward to every week. And this is going to be Stories from the Tower.
And now it's time for Stories from the Tower. Stories that come from you, to us, and back to you. Be prepared to laugh at time, or 3, or 2.
Okay, guys, so this week we're going to start with a topic that everyone, I'm sure, is familiar with. It's poop. Poop everywhere. And our first story comes from Brenton J. off of the DoD forum, and the story reads as follows. So this morning, as I'm getting ready for work, I realize that my 4-year-old son has been in the bathroom for a very long time. As I go in to check on him, everything looks normal, but it smells like a 400-pound man just destroyed the bathroom after a late-night visit to Taco Bell. So my son tells me that he needs help wiping because he is out of toilet paper. Being the decent father that I am, I go grab him a fresh roll. Upon returning, I discover poop in a weird spot on his leg. After cleaning the mystery smudge, I discover another, and then another, and then another. So being quite confused, I asked my son how he got poop on the side of his leg, to which he replied, I don't know, something must have happened. After cleaning him up, we turn to leave the bathroom, and guess what I discover? Yep, you guessed it, more poop on the bottom of his foot. Now, most dads can figure out from this what must have happened, but remember, this is early morning, and I'm not quite all there yet. So I just think to myself, wow, poop on his foot. That's weird. After cleaning him up, we go to his room to get changed, and as we enter the room, I am once again greeted by the smell of a 400-pound Taco Bell connoisseur. Jaden, what happened in here? To which he replies, well, I think I kind of pooped in my room. He then escorts me to a blanket on the floor and moves it to reveal a massive pile on the floor. Then he goes to his closet and pulls out the pants he was wearing, also covered in poop, and the sock he used to try and clean it up. Then I find smudges of poop all over the carpet in his room.
Oh, my gosh.
I clean up as best as I can, but I'm about to be late for work, so I go back to my room to inform my wife about what has just transpired. And guess what I'm greeted with in my own bedroom? Yep, that same 400-pound man stench. There are smudges and small pieces all over my bed. That's when I discovered my 2-year-old son must have walked through the poop on his way from his room to ours, and now poop has covered his feet and soiled our bed. All I know is that my kids better not pull this crap, pun intended, tomorrow morning.
Dude, oh my gosh, bro. I mean, I can't even imagine that, dude. I can't even imagine the cleanup situation that involved.
It just sounds awful. I couldn't imagine what I would do. I really can't. Well, let's keep it moving. Here's another one under the same topic, sorta, and this one is titled "Perfect Example of Why I Need This Group." And this one is posted by Lock06, once again off the main DoD forum page. And it reads as follows. Finished dinner, getting relaxed. Wife is off to give our 1-year-old son a bath. Perfect time for a little bit of Destiny. Get booted up, jump into a mission on Venus. Things are going great. These fallen don't even know what's happening. Then the call comes, a yell from down the hallway. Come quick, I need your help. As everyone here knows, you haul your butt down the hallway to see what just happened. I bust into the bathroom with the wife holding her son up as he stands there fresh out of the bath, and my wife turns to me. Take him, I need to clean this crap up. Our son has sharted in the tub. I guess the prunes for lunch worked. At least I know if I was in a fire team with you guys, there wouldn't have been an issue when the crap hits the tub. So,
no question, man. No question. Well, obviously, that is a big reason why we created Dads of Destiny is because we all know what it's like to have to drop the controller and clean up some crap. So.
Oh yeah, and this post has some pretty funny replies in it, so I thought I'd share a couple of those. The first one comes from Inanimate Alpha, and he says, "LOL, this just confirmed that I'm only doing patrols during bath time." So I thought that one was pretty good. Another one here says, yeah, isn't it great to say, sorry guys, back in a second, not here, you can't leave. Instead, it's a, hey, no problem, take your time. And I think that is very cool to know that our community is in support of all those fatherly duties that might seem a little strange to some other people.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I know the feeling whenever you're in a fire team or whenever you're on a team in Call of Duty and like, hey, dude, I'll be back. Give me like 5 minutes or 2 minutes. You know, I got to go take my, help my kid out or whatever the case may be. And they're a bunch of guys that are single or don't have kids, and they don't know what the frustration's like. But in DoD, many times I know that we've put the controller down and come back, and everybody's politely waiting there, and we kick off and go to the next mission or next strike or game. So that's obviously a big part of Dads of Destiny. Well, guys, thanks so much for the stories. Continue to throw them up on the forums. Continue to send them to us. And if you have one that's really, really good and you really want us to read it on the podcast, make sure you send it. And Nolxero can tell you how to do that.
All right. So to send feedback to us or stories or anything that you want us to get, you send it to feedback.dod@gmail.com. I got one email this week that I really liked. I'm going to summarize it because it's a very long email, and I'll just go over the first part because that's the part that I was like, wow, this is amazing. It says, Dear DoD Podcast crew, before Destiny, I had never listened to a podcast in my life. Now, every time I go to work, I search to see if the newest episode is out so that I can listen to it after work. I work as a conductor, and lately I have had the pleasure to arrive at my destination, heat up my meal, and plug in my earbuds to listen to your wonderful show. I very much enjoy listening to a group of gamers that play games just the same way that I do, and think the same way that I do as well. So it goes on much longer. He tells us a little bit about his history in gaming. He played WoW and some of those other games. He talks about, the amazing feeling it is that he was talking about how we talked about playing like Nintendo games and stuff like that with our kids, and that's kind of where his kids are at right now. So his name was Cody, and his last name, I'm sorry, I'm right at the bottom of the email, is Geldof, I believe. Gamer tag is SCRIXUS, Skryx. I don't know. I'm not sure. But overall, I really appreciate the email. I responded to you. I hope you got that response, and thank you very much, Cody.
Yeah, absolutely, and thanks so much for your feedback, guys. We always enjoy and the compliments and everything else that you guys send our way and the ideas you send our way. We definitely want to continue that. That's how we started Tips and Tricks. So we got an email that somebody wanted to hear some tips and tricks and from multiple people. So we decided we're going to start putting that in as a regular section in the podcast. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. And as always, continue to send us your feedback. So thanks again, guys, for listening. We really hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure you rate us on iTunes. Make sure you visit dadsofdestiny.net. Obviously, you can find all the links to our Twitch account and Twitter accounts and everything else there. YouTube.com/dadsofdestiny, Twitch.com/dadsofdestiny. Follow me on Twitter if you would like at TwoLoud. That's TWOLOUDTX. Nolxero is NOLXERO. And POPEBEAR?
POPE_BEAR.
And Mr. Hambone?
You're going to be able to find me at The Real Hambone1. So that's DAREALHAMBONE, the number 1.
And Mr. Hollywood, if they wanted to get in touch with you guys or with you over there at Shadow Ravens, what's the best way to do that?
Head over to the Shadow Ravens group page, our website, Twitter, all of them.
What's your website?
It's going to be shadowravens.clanwebsite.com.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, man. We really appreciate it. We really look forward to the events coming up next month, or should I say this month now, since we're in October, starting next week. And don't forget, everybody, put on your pink shader next week in support of breast cancer awareness. And we'll be also having more information about Extra Life next week as well. So thanks so much for listening, and until next time, see you later, alligator.
After a while, crocodile.
Here's a hug, ladybug.
And don't flip, potato chip.
Got a bell, well.
Got a bell.
Nice. I like it.